Want to lose weight with PCOS, but feel like you're just too exhausted or busy to eat healthier, and unhealthy foods just feel so much easier and convenient. My clients say all the time that the #1 thing that helps them stay on track to eating healthier is doing a little bit of food prep ahead of time. I don't mean spending an entire afternoon making 20 containers of chicken, broccoli, and brown rice. I usually just spend around 30 minutes or less doing a little bit of ingredient or food prep. So today I want to walk you through exactly what I do as a dietitian who also has PCOS myself. So come prep with me. All right, so I have my prep list here. So what we're going to be making is first a veggie frittata. This takes about 30 minutes to bake, so I want to prep that and get it in the oven while we do everything else. And then we're also going to make shepherd salad. So this is a really great veggie side. It's quick, refreshing, delicious, and is a great way to have that half your meal non-starchy vegetables, if you remember from our video all about the easiest diet for weight loss with PCOS. And then we'll also be making overnight oats. This is my favorite thing to make for the mornings. Then we're also going to be making a Greek yogurt ranch dip. So I am such a ranch girly. It's my favorite dressing. And this is a high protein ranch dip that is super simple to whip up. So we're going to be making that. And then we're also going to shred some rotisserie chicken so that we have some meat and protein ready to go for some really quick and easy meals. So that's our to-do list. Let's get started. Alrighty, so we're going to start with the veggie frittata with chopping up those vegetables. And you will notice in this video my baby bump. So I am currently 23 weeks pregnant with twins. You normally don't see this in my other videos, so you'll see a lot more baby bump in this video. So we're going to start with chopping up the vegetables for the frittata. And one thing I love about this veggie frittata is you can just throw in veggies that you have in your fridge that you need to use up before they go bad. And so that's kind of what we're going to do with this one. So it's going to be onion, asparagus, and we're also going to do sliced mushrooms as well. And then we're also going to add spinach. That's just going to be frozen spinach that we need to use up as well. So we'll get started with chopping this onion. And when it comes to meal prepping, I really like prioritizing those problem areas. So like for me, where I'm most likely to stumble is going to be having a good nutritious breakfast that's full of at least that 25 to 35 grams of protein. And so that's why we're going to be prepping this veggie frittata and those overnight oats as well, because those are a really good source of, those also have a lot of protein. So we got to chop up these veggies and then we'll saute them to cook them up in our pan on the stove over here. We have our oven preheating to 425. And also with these recipes that I'm going to be doing, you can find these in my free 7-day PCOS diet plan. So if you want some more ideas on some great balanced meals and snacks, feel free to check that out, grab your copy of it, and you'll be able to try out all these recipes as well. All right, we got our onions cut. We'll move on to our asparagus here. All right, so we have all our veggies chopped up. We'll go ahead and saute them on the stove. So now we're gonna go ahead and saute up our veggies before we put them into our frittata mixture. So I'll go ahead and turn on the stove. We're gonna saute them in a little bit of olive oil because olive oil is super great for reducing inflammation, which is really important when it comes to managing your symptoms with PCOS. So we'll throw our mushrooms in there, throw the rest of our veggies. Probably should have used a bigger pan for this, but that's okay. And you want to remember, so when it comes to managing your symptoms of PCOS and having a healthy weight loss, you want to focus on 3 key things, and that's balancing your blood sugar levels, reducing inflammation, and reducing stress. Those are key to help with balancing out your hormones and really seeing improvement in your PCOS symptoms and having that healthy weight loss. And these recipes that we're doing are going to help with balancing your blood sugar, reducing inflammation, and you're going to be reducing stress because you're going to make life easier for you down the road. Your future self is going to thank you. All right, and I think that's looking pretty good for our veggies here. So now we'll go ahead and do our egg mixture for the frittata. So for this, we're going to need 10 eggs. All right, so we got our 10 eggs in the bowl, and now we're going to add cottage cheese. So this is going to add a really nice creaminess to the frittata, and then it also really bumps up the protein as well. And if you remember back what I said about the keys to managing your symptoms of PCOS, and that's to balance your blood sugar, reduce your inflammation, reduce stress. Your diet plays a huge role in obviously balancing your blood sugar and reducing your inflammation. And there's a lot of diet advice that you'll find when it comes to PCOS. And while there's no one size fits all approach, something might work for one person, something might work for another. What I have found with my clients and with myself, the way to make it really simple and easy is to focus on what I call the PCOS powerful 3. So building your meals, building your diet around the PCOS powerful 3. And that's fiber, protein, and healthy fats. So obviously this recipe is going to give us a lot of really good fiber, which is really important in the morning. And so for the cottage cheese, you want about 2/3 cup. I don't do a lot of measuring when it comes to cooking. That's why I like cooking rather than baking. So we're just gonna kind of dump it in and say, yeah, that looks good. Perfect. So about 3 heaping spoonfuls, that sounds good. Then we'll also add some salt and pepper for some seasoning as well. And now we'll just whisk that up so it's all combined. Could use a blender too to do that. I'm old school. I like just whisking it. Personally, I feel like the blender is a lot more work to clean than just the bowl and the whisk. So, and then you could also add some milk to this as well to make it even creamier, add a little bit more protein. I'm a little worried that my dish is too small, so I'm not going to add any more liquid to this because I think this might already be too much, but hopefully you can kind of see in there how it's looking good. Now we can assemble our frittata to get it into the oven to be cooking. So we got our sauteed veggies here. We're going to put this in that greased up pan. Now we'll dump in our egg mixture. Perfect. So we'll get this into the oven to bake and we'll go ahead and start our other recipes. I actually forgot, I wanted to top that with some fresh basil from our garden. We have a huge basil plant. We've been harvesting basil almost every day. So I've been trying to find ways to utilize it. And I thought chopping it up and sprinkling it over the frittata would be a really good way to add some more flavor. So I'm gonna chop this up really quick and add it to the frittata. So now we're gonna make the shepherd's salad, which is a really delicious Mediterranean veggie dish. We fell in love with this dish when we traveled to Istanbul. My husband's been there a couple of times, I've been there once, and they actually serve this to us on the plane ride there. And the way to my heart is to serve me veggies with my meals. And it was just so delicious, so refreshing. And it's one I love to make now to have as a side. And this uses a cucumber, tomatoes. Usually I use a whole tomato, but these are some cherry tomatoes from our garden that we get to use up, and then a green bell pepper, which is also from our garden. So we'll start with the cucumber. One of the things I love about Mediterranean dishes, cooking, cuisine, is how many veggies they include in everything. So we're just gonna quarter all of these. And so we're going to use this for sides, for lunches, or even for dinners if we need that veggie side, to have that half our plate non-starchy veggies. And then I also wanna try it in the Mediterranean chicken pita pocket that's also in that 7-day menu plan as well. Once again, lowering inflammation is super important with PCOS because a lot of women with PCOS have underlying chronic inflammation, which that inflammation can really disrupt your hormone levels, make it really hard to lose weight, and really impact your energy levels as well. And so sticking to a lot of anti-inflammatory type foods and dishes, that's why I like a lot of Mediterranean type of dishes, because they are anti-inflammatory. That can be really beneficial for PCOS. So we got our cucumbers in there. We'll go ahead and chop up these cherry tomatoes. So now we'll go ahead and chop up our pepper. And so the dressing and flavoring of this really comes from fresh lemon juice and from parsley. The next thing we'll chop up is the parsley. And then you also just put some olive oil in there. All right, and so now we just mix it with some olive oil. I believe the recipe is juice from half a lemon. So we'll do this and see how it tastes. We'll use some tongs just to toss it. And the great thing about this shepherd salad too is as it sits, the flavors all meld together and it gets better every day. Oh, and then I also forgot another important seasoning to put in it is called sumac. So that's another Mediterranean herb that's used in a lot of Turkish dishes as well, including this. Kind of gives some spice, not really spicy, but it's good. So, well, put some of that in there too. It's kind of hard to find. I did find it at my local supermarket. That is looking pretty good. And now we will give it a taste test to see how it is. So good. Once again, just so light, so refreshing. I think that one's good. All right, so we'll just pop the lid on this, pop it in the fridge, and then when we're ready to have some veggies, it's ready to go. So next we're gonna make our overnight oats. So I have my mason jars here, and this one is one of my favorites, one of my clients' favorites, and that's because it's a really great way to have a quick and easy breakfast in the morning, because you make this the night before, let it sit in the fridge, and it's ready to go in the morning. And with my recipe, the way I make it, it's really high protein and really high fiber. And so many clients tell me this keeps them full all morning long, and I find the same thing. So we're gonna start with the oats. I like using quick oats. For this, I just find it gives a better texture. It absorbs the liquid a lot better. In each mason jar, we're gonna put half a cup of oats. I always make a mess with this because these mouths aren't wide enough to catch all these oats. And next we're gonna put ground flax seeds. This also provides some more fiber, and it also provides some healthy fats as well. So remembering back to that powerful three: fiber, protein, and healthy fats. This has all three of them. And normally I recommend using chia seed. That's what I normally like to use. But with my pregnancy, I have more GI issues than normal, and so I'm more sensitive to the chia seeds. They cause a little bit more GI distress. So I've since swapped to using flaxseed, and it helps alleviate that discomfort that chia seeds sometimes give me. So use whichever one you want. I would recommend chia seeds. It's gonna be more fiber, more protein, but flax seeds are still good too. So we're just gonna do 1 tablespoon in each. There we go. And then next, for it to be really packed with protein, I like to add protein powder. So you can add protein powder or Greek yogurt. I like adding the protein powder because it really gives that boost of protein. So I normally go with just vanilla protein. A lot of people will ask me, what's the best protein powder to get? I usually say the one you can afford and the one that you like, because some protein powders out there are just nasty. They don't taste very good, and they can be really expensive, but you want it to have at least 25 to 30 grams of protein in it. So we'll do 2 vanilla, and then we're gonna do 1 chocolate. Recently, I really have enjoyed doing chocolate overnight oats, and then I'll put bananas and a little drizzle of peanut butter on top. And that chocolate peanut butter banana just hits the spot in the mornings. So I'll do a scoop of chocolate protein powder in this last one. So now we're just gonna mix these dry ingredients together. And now we're gonna add the liquid. I use Fairlife milk because it's ultra filtered to have more protein in it, so it just ups the protein even more. It's also lactose free, which I need because I have a lactose intolerance. So there's a lot of confusion out there that you need to be dairy free if you have PCOS, and that's because there's this misconception that dairy causes a lot of inflammation. And it can for people who have a true dairy intolerance or dairy allergy, but I find most people don't have that. They might have a lactose intolerance. I feel like that's more common with my clients, which that can cause some inflammation as well. But as long as you have a lactose-free milk, then that's just fine. And there have actually been studies that have shown full-fat dairy can help with reducing inflammation and help balance hormones with PCOS, especially if you're trying to conceive and get pregnant. To make sure that liquid really gets down to the bottom. And I like to top the vanilla with just sliced up strawberries, maybe some nuts. Frozen wild blueberries is also really good to put on this, because then as it thaws overnight, then that blueberry juice kind of seeps in. Really delicious. All right, and those look good. So now I'll just put the lid on these and then stick them in the fridge, and then tomorrow they'll be ready to eat. All right, so now we're gonna make the Greek yogurt ranch dip. That is super easy and super delicious. Like I said, I love ranch. It is my dressing of preference. And this I love because it's a way to enjoy like veggies and ranch while still getting a really great boost of protein, because it's going to be using plain Greek yogurt. And then also, since it's Greek yogurt, it's going to have some live active cultures or some good bacteria to really help with your gut health, which is also really important for helping to reduce inflammation with PCOS as well. And with this, it's really nothing fancy. It's just going to be the ranch dip mix. You're just going to use roughly half of a container of plain Greek yogurt. We pretty much use plain Greek yogurt in place of sour cream. So like for taco night, quesadillas, anytime it calls for a recipe calls for sour cream, we're using plain Greek yogurt instead. And now we'll just dump the ranch dip in here. So, all right, and now we'll just mix this up. We'll use it mostly to use for a veggie dip, but you could use this as a dressing for your salads as well. And once again, we need to give this a taste test. So I'm gonna grab one of those cherry tomatoes from the garden. All right, let's see how this tastes. So good. One of my favorite ways to enjoy veggies is with a ranch dip. All right, and we'll put this in the fridge and move on to our last item. The last, all we have to do is shred the rotisserie chicken. So I love getting a rotisserie chicken because it's already cooked for you. It's so easy to turn this into different meals. And it's also so cheap when you get it from Sam's or Costco. Like, how can you pass up on that deal of a full chicken that is already cooked for you? So we usually will get one of these every week. So we'll go ahead and start shredding this. I usually just cut off the breasts and we'll like shred those. I'll leave the legs for my husband. He'll usually eat those. And then we'll use this rotisserie chicken for tacos. Tonight we're gonna actually have chicken pesto pasta, so we'll use it for that. I have planned to use it for the Mediterranean chicken pita pockets that I talked about before. We'll use this for that. And then I have my puppers here. He loves rotisserie chicken. Anytime we have it out, he's right here. Can you sit? Good boy. And so shredding this up in advance just helps to make it one less thing you have to do when it's time to make that meal. All right, so I have most of what I have been able to get from the chicken shredded up. I'll leave, like I said, the rest for my husband. He's usually able to get a lot more out of it. And so we will pop this in the fridge now as well. All right, and now we do have our frittata done as well. So we're going to cut this up and portion it out into containers. And so then we can just reheat it in the morning for a quick and easy breakfast. So you don't need to spend hours in the kitchen to eat balanced with PCOS. Doing a little bit of prep can go a really long way. So hopefully this gave you some inspiration. If you want to try any of these recipes, feel free to grab my 7-day PCOS diet plan, which is free to download. I'll leave a link in the description below. And now the other thing that my clients say is such a game changer to helping them lose weight with PCOS is tracking their intake or food journaling. So be sure to check out this video where I'll walk you through how to set up my favorite food journaling app so that you can be set up for success to lose weight with PCOS.